So with that said, let's talk, let's do just quick muraja'a, and then we're going to get into the actual tajweed workshop. So yesterday we talked a little bit about hal muslimin. We talked about the condition of the Muslims. We talked about condition on the world scale, societal scale, communal scale, familial scale, and individual scale. And then we talked about the fact that that reality causes people to make suggestions about how we can solve the problem. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, what were some of the suggestions that we said people throw out there typically?
Secularism.
Secularism is one. Throw the religion behind your back. That's one. Another one. They offer political solutions, right? Like, so they built different political systems. Another one is nationalism. People did that. Economic systems too, that we need to basically change our economic system. Socialism they try to adopt, capitalism they try to adopt, etc. Okay, that works. Then after that we said that all of these have been tried and failed. But what hasn't been tried is what? An Islamic solution, or Islam as the solution. And we mentioned that Allah tells us in the Quran, the Prophet told us in the Hadith, that the solution to whatever problems we have lies in Islam. What's the proof from the Quran that the solution lies in Islam? You guys remember that? What proof did we give? Okay, before the Sunnah, what proof did we give from the Quran? That the solution lies in Islam. Whatever problems we have, the solution lies in Islam. You guys remember? This is important. Ahsant. وَنَزَّلْنَا وَعَلَيْكُمْ السَّلَامُ وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكَ الْكِتَابَ تِبْيَانًا لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ. 1689. 1689. We have revealed to you the book as a clarification for all things. 1689. An-Nahl, verse 89. Okay, what proof did we get from the Sunnah? The solution is what? The solution for the problems we have is always what? In Islam. What proof did we get from the Sunnah? You guys remember the proof from the Sunnah? Hadith Abu Hurairah, Khutab al-Bukhari. The Hadith of Abu Hurairah, Khutab al-Bukhari is a riwayah in Abi Dawood. And the Hadith says, مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِن دَاءٍ إِلَّا أَنزَلَهُ شِفَاءً. Allah has not created a disease except that He created its cure. Okay, so there's no problem except that Allah has created what? Its solution. So we can turn to what? Turn to Islam and find what? The solution. So we have proof from the Quran, proof from the Sunnah, that the solution for our problem lies in Islam. طيب. So then we said, okay, so what is the problem? What's the solution? We said the answer to this question lies actually in hadith of the Prophet, collected by Abu Dawood and authority of Abd'Llah ibn Umar. Can anybody tell me the overall meaning? You don't have to give me word for word, but basically the gist of that hadith. The hadith of Abd'Llah ibn Umar, collected by Abu Dawood, in which the Prophet basically tells us what the disease is, or he kind of points to two strains of the disease, and he gives us what? The cure. You guys remember that hadith? Ahsant, the hadith of what? إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَةِ. If you engage in these aina transactions, right? That hadith, he gave us two strains of what? Of the disease. And he gave us what? The cure, regardless of the disease, right? Or regardless of the strain. What were the two strains he mentioned in this hadith?
Greed.
So, تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَةِ, that was a strain. Okay, so what about those transactions? What's significant about this particular transaction? Because he said, تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالرِّبَى. He could have said if you deal in interest, right?
Yeah.
But no, he mentioned a specific type of interest-bearing transaction, la'ina, to get to a point.
Yeah.
That they try to do what? Do they try to do? Ahsan. So one strain of the marad is that they do illegal things, but they try to do what? Justify it or legalize it, right? So that's one strain of the disease. What was the second strain he mentioned in the hadith? وَأَخَذْتُمْ بِأَذْنَابِ الْبَقَرِ وَرَضِيتُمْ بِالزَّرَعِ وَتَرَكْتُمْ الْجِهَادِ. So he said, you take hold of the tail of cows, and you become pleased with agriculture, and you abandon jihad. That was a point to what? Another strain of the disease. What strain does that point to?
Leaving obligations for this world.
You're too busy with this world to what? To fulfill your religious obligations. Okay, that was the second strain. So those were two strains of the marad. And then we said that those are the only strains. Is that right? That what we said yesterday? Those two are the only strains.
We have 8.
No, we said there were others, right? That they were mentioned in what? In other ayat and other hadith. So we mentioned, in addition to those two, we mentioned what? 6 others. Okay, what were the 6? You don't have to give me an order. What were the 6 we mentioned?
Innovative practices.
Ahsant, that the spread of innovations and heresies. That was one. And what was the proof for that? You guys remember the proof for that? Just the gist. You don't have to give the word for word. You have to give me the rawi or the min kharaj al-hadith. But what was that one that talks about innovations and heresies? You guys remember the hadith in general, the gist of it?
Whoever innovates in this.
I mean, that's a good one you could use, but this one actually, it points to this being a marad, part of the problem. So don't you guys remember the hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said that you're on the verge of a time when the other communities will invite other communities to you, like diners invite what? Other people to what? To their meal, right? And so then they said, is it because of what? Is it because we'll be few in number? He said, no, you won't be few in number, you'll be what? That's a different one. That's the wrong hadith, I'm sorry, that's the wrong hadith. Wrong hadith. Everybody's going with it. Yeah. No, that's not it. That's the wrong hadith. That hadith is for another strain of the marad. The hadith for the strain we're talking about is the hadith Hudayfa, the hadith of Dakhan, right? The hadith of Dakhan. So in the hadith of Dakhan, he said, I used to ask about the evil things. He said, the people used to ask about the good things. I used to ask about the evil things because I feared that what? I would fall into them. So he said, on one day I asked the Prophet ﷺ, kunna fi jahiliyatin wa shar. We were in a period of ignorance and chaos, and Allah brought us this khair. فَهَلْ هَذَا بَعْدَ هَذَا الْخَيْرِ مِنْ شَرٍ. So is there going to be after this good some evil? So the Prophet said, yes. So he said, oh no, does that mean that there won't be any good? Will there be good to follow this evil? He said, na'am wa fihi dakhan. He said, yes, but there'll be what? It'll be sullied, it'll be murky. It won't be pure, it'll be contaminated. So then Hudayfa said, wa ma dakhanu? He said, what will sully it? What will make it murky? He said, قوم يستنون بغير سنتي ويهتدون بغير هدي تعرف منهم وتنكر. He said, there will be people who what? Follow a path other than my path and guidance other than my guidance. You'll recognize some things they do and other things you will not recognize. Wadah? So this is what? Spread of innovations. Mumtaz. Okay, what about, so that's the third strain. Give me a fourth one. Fourth one we mentioned.
People you're not enjoying good and forbidden.
Ahsan, not enjoying the good and forbidden evil. Ahsan, Salim. So one of them is when we fail to enjoy the good and forbidden evil. What was the proof for that, Yakhwa? What was the proof that not enjoying good and forbidden evil can lead to what? Can lead to what? Our situation, our condition, a humiliated state. What was the proof that we gave for that? Ahsant. واتقوا أحسنت واتقوا فتنة لا تصيبن الذين ظلموا منكم خاصة. Ward off, fend off, O believers, from yourselves a fitna, tumult, tribulation, trials, calamities that will not just afflict what? The people who sin amongst you. And Ibn Abbas explained that Allah is basically telling the believers that if they don't command good and forbid evil, He'll do what? He'll encompass all of them with an iqab. He says this is the meaning of the ayah. So ahsan. So that's 4. We need 4 more. Al-wala wal-bara. If we leave aqidat al-wala wal-bara, and which a lot of us have done that. We give our alliance to the people who don't deserve it, and the people who deserve our alliance, we do what? We cut them off and we hate them and we mistreat them. If we do that, then what? We're in the threat of what? Of trials and calamities. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, actually you should give me I should have you give me the proof for that. What's the proof that al-wala wal-bara, leaving it, failing to adhere to it, can bring about our humiliated state, or it's one of the strains of disease that we're afflicted with? What's the proof for that? You guys remember that? From the Quran, Surah al-Anfal, أيضا. It's also from the 8th surah. Anybody remember the ayah? This one is the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He said, الذين كفروا بعضهم أولياء بعض إلا تفعلوه تكون فتنة في الأرض وفساد كبير. So He says, the ayah number, it's Anfal, I don't remember the ayah number. I'm sorry, and I don't have my notes with me. It's الذين كفروا بعضهم أولياء بعض إلا تفعلوه تكون فتنة في الأرض وفساد كبير. I can get it for you. Just give me 1 second. I can look it up 1 second. No problem. Just give me 1 second. إلا تفعلوه تكون فتنة في الأرض وفساد كبير. Anyway, the ayah in English, it means the non-believers, they are allies one to another. And if you believers don't do that, there will be fitnatun fil ard, calamities, trials and tribulations, wa fasadun kabir. I want to say it's 73. Yeah, it's 73. 73, alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feek. So it's 73, 873. Okay, so that's how many now? 6 now? Or 5? That was 5, so we have 3 left. Pride and arrogance. Ahsant. The pride that what? Makes you feel that you're above others and above the law. We do alayh. The hadith of Abd'Llah ibn Mas'ud collected by Muslim, which the Prophet said, لا يدخل الجنة من كان في قلبه مثقال ذرة من كبر فقال رجل من القوم إن الرجل يحب أن يكون ثوبه حسنا ونعله حسنة فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إن الله جميل يحب الجمال الكبر بطل الحق وغمط الناس. So in this hadith, the Prophet said that no one to paradise who has a mustard seed's weight of heart, a mustard seed's weight of pride in his heart, or arrogance in his heart. So a man said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, but a man likes to wear nice clothing and nice shoes." So the Prophet said, Allah is beautiful and He loves that you beautify yourselves. This is not pride. This in itself is not pride. But pride is batrul haqq, it's rejecting the truth and looking down on the people, right? Looking down on the people. Good, ahsantum. So that's 6 now. 2 left. What if you remember, we mentioned the dalil earlier, which we put in the wrong place, and that was the dalil of the hadith of al-wahn, right? The hadith of what? Weakness. And when the Prophet said that the other community will invite other communities to you, and then they said, is it because we will be few? He said, no, you'll be abundant, but you'll be what? The ghutha ka is sail. You'll be what? Like the froth of the sea, or you'll be froth like the froth of what? Of the stream. So that points to what? A strain of disease. What strain of disease was that? What strain of disease was that? So now we're doing it backwards now. We have the proof for it, now we need the disease that it points to.
Uselessness. Uselessness,
ahsant. And wallahi ikhwan, this is something that we all complain of in the community, in our communities. That basically we try to do good things, and those good things that we try to do end in failure, either partial or complete failure. I'll give you an example, which is very common here. I've experienced it in the different communities I've been in, is attempts to establish Islamic schools. This is one of those things that Muslims are very passionate about. It's something they should be very passionate about. They need to have their own private schools where they're able to cultivate their children with their Islamic identity, and to basically incorporate with the secular studies what our Islamic culture and our Islamic beliefs and morals and values. But the problem comes is that when we actually get into this endeavor, that uselessness spills out into what we're doing. And so the way that we do it and the quality of the product that we produce is always what? Subpar. And to the point that and this is not something just specific to Islamic school, but it's one of those that just jumps out at me, right? But it's so common in our communities that everything we do is always what? Subpar and substandard, is that people become what? Complacent, and they accept it, and when other people say no, because we're Muslims, it should be what? Better. It should be superior. It shouldn't be subpar. It should be better than what the non-Muslims have. When people say that and they insist on that, the response is always, well, we have a school. At least we have a school. We actually accept what? It being less, and we want to convince other people that, it's less. I mean, what do you expect? They will say, what do you expect? Like, it's Muslims doing it. What do you expect? Shame on us for saying this, especially when in the one hadith the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna al-Muslim, إذا عمل عملا أتقنه." He said, a Muslim, if he's really a Muslim, when he does anything, he does what? He does it well. He does it well. Excellent. Exactly, because he's a Muslim. Atqana. Just because he's a Muslim, it has to be what? The best. Dhul Qarnayn.
It seems that it's just in the Islamic matters. When it's our personal lives, when we are addressing everything.
Allah is a khair. Allah is a khair. Allah is a khair.
It's as if we're not concerned about
But Sahih, when we and to your point, just to piggyback off of that, it's like people step out of the masjid, and their whole persona changes. So I'll give you an example. The way that, for example, the way that a person who works in corporate America, the way that they handle, a person's a manager in corporate America. And you know that they give you very good training about, for example, interpersonal relations, interpersonal communications. How do you communicate with others? What does your body language say to them? When you have a difference of opinion with them, how do you mitigate that? They teach you that. And they teach you all these skills. They teach you how to manage employees, how to talk to them, how to counsel them, how to assess them and give them, like, for example, their yearly annual reviews, etc. They give you all this training, right? Yeah. And so a person goes to work and they're like the best of the managers. And then they come to the masjid and they're managing, they're maybe on the board or they're in a position of leadership, and all that goes out the window. So they have people who, for example, are working with them in the mosque and they all have good intentions and they want to basically improve the services of the mosque, the appearance of the mosque. They all have those good intentions, and then what ends up happening is that they start to argue and fight, and all those interpersonal communications and relations go right out out the window. And much of it is from Islam, from Islamic teachings anyway. So the point I'm trying to make is that, it's for whatever reason we have this quality of uselessness, and we can't produce anything of merit. And it's not because we don't have the human capacity, the intellectual capacity, because some of these people, they go out of the masjid, they go out of the Islamic school, and they do amazing things. No. They do amazing things in in their work environment. They're the guy that people go to, right? So they don't lack the intelligence, they don't lack the acumen, but for whatever reason, it's been stamped on us when it comes to like Dhul Qarnayn said, the Islamic things. Islamic things. So we have to be mindful of that, ya ikhwan. So that was uselessness. So I think we're down to two left, right? Dispensing, right? Feeling self-sufficient, and the proof of that was the ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَمَّا مَنْ بَخِلَ وَاسْتَغْنَى وَكَذَبَ بِالْحُسْنَى فَسَنُيَسِّرُهُ لِلْعُسْرَى from Surah al-Layl. Those three ayat. What was the last one then? What's left? What one did we not do? We said
spreading of heresies?
Heresies we did. What else is left?
Innovations
we did. Heresies we did. Kibr we did. Uselessness we did. Al-wala wal-bara we did. We did all of them. That was all 8. Because I lost count. Okay, I can believe that. That's possible. All right, so we gave these strains, and then we said, okay, now, so what's the answer? And we said the answer is in the same hadith, the hadith of Abd'Llah ibn Umar. And that was the statement of the Prophet, which he said, وَلَا يعني سَلَطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ ذُلًّا وَلَا يَنْزِعْهُ عَنْكُمْ حَتَّى تَرْجِعُوا إِلَىٰ دِينِكُمْ. And we said there's a few significant things here. One, that who's going to lift the humiliation? Who's going to lift it? Allah. And He's going to lift it when? When we fulfill the shart, when we fulfill the condition, when we fulfill the condition. So it just gets worse, and we're just digging ourselves a deeper hole if we keep trying to employ other means and just do it on our own, basically. No, we need what? We need Allah to do it for us, and the way to entitle ourselves to Him doing it for us is what? Fulfilling the condition, return to our religion. What religion is that? Which is the one mentioned in Ayat al-Ma'idah 5:3, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. And we said, Imam Malik, he mentioned that it's the same deen that Allah perfected at that time, and which was followed by the earliest Muslims, and Allah vouched for them and vouched for the Islam that they were practicing. And that's why he said, Imam Malik, he said, لا يصلح آخر هذه الأمة إلا بما صلح به أوله. That the last part of this, or the latter part of this ummah, will not be rectified or corrected except by what corrected the first of them, right? So then we said that this whole concept, it has a lot of different names that people have used throughout the history. People have done this. They've practically done this, and they've done it with varying degrees of success. But we said that the phrase that's been coined in this modern age is at-Tasfiyah wa at-Tarbiyah. And we said what that means. We talked about that. And we talked about one of the means or the tools that we want to use for that Tasfiyah wa at-Tarbiyah is what? The Quran itself. It's a great tool that we have at our disposal, and we need to take advantage of it in what? In our process, in this process of what? A tasfiyah with tarbiyah. And then got into that phase and we talked about how to use the Quran as a tool. Because we said knowing that it's a tool is great, but if we don't know how to use it, it's not going to benefit us. So we talked about the different things that we have to do, and then we said we do them in stages, right? So the first stage was what? Reading, right? And we said reading had what?
Different.
3 aspects to it. So what was the first aspect of reading?
Routine.
You read regularly, right? You have to read it regularly, right? Second one?
With and
You have to what? See yourself in it, right? You have to see yourself in the eye, read it as if Allah is speaking to you. And what was the third one?
read it analytically, critically.
Analytically and critically, right? So you can't just read it and read at the surface level, on the face value level. You have to read what? Deeper than that. All right, think about that. We go to the next stage. Yarhamukallah, Shaykh. So the second stage is what? Ponder and reflect. You have to contemplate now. What is it? What does it mean? What lessons is it trying to teach? What lessons are being taught? What lessons can I gain from it? Ponder and reflect, contemplate. Then after that, understand. If you ponder and reflect, what is Allah saying? What's the message? Then what? You'll be able to what? Understand what He wants from you, what He wants you to do with it. Once you understand it, you have to do what? You have to surrender to it. And we talked about that. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You have to surrender to it. And then once you surrender to it, that will enable you to do the final step, which is what? Apply it, live in it, and make your desires in accordance with it. And we talked about how important that is. And we talked about this word, I can't, meaning what? I won't. If you say that in any aspect of Islam, anything that the Quran teaches you, the Prophet teaches you, then know that what? You have not what? Read the Quran. You haven't used it as what? As a tool. I'm sorry, not read it, but you haven't used it as a tool to what? To purify yourself. And that you're preventing it. Okay, and you're fighting against it, right? It's like a person who takes poison and the antidote at the same time. It's not going to work, right? So you have to basically surrender to it and then what? Make your desires in accordance with it. That's when you've made it, so to speak, in terms of what? At-Tafseer. طيب. And then after that, we just took some practical, so we won't revisit that. And so I just want to make sure we go over it, because the more that we go over it, we want to get to the point where it's what? We're mubarmaj. We're programmed. You know what I mean? We don't have to refer to notes. And then we can just what? Act. Once you have it up here locked in, then you just what? You act. I know when I read, I'm supposed to read like this, and to ponder like that, and I have to do this, and it just comes naturally. You want to be a natural process. So this Quran can do what? Have its effect on us. So with that said, ya ikhwan, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little tajweed workshop. And what I've decided to do is we're going to select a surah from the Quran, and we're going to use that as our practical guide for the workshop, our practical subject matter for the workshop. And we're going to do it, I guess, in 3 stages. The first stages is that we're gonna pick out. We're gonna pick out those alfaz or those huruf which are typically what? Of difficulty. People have difficulty with. We're gonna pick those out, and we're gonna make sure that we make dhabt on those. Make sure that we're pronouncing those huruf correctly. Then once we get past that stage, we're going to pick out some of the tajweed rules that are particular to the section that we're going to do. And then once we go over those and we feel comfortable with those, we'll actually do some what? We'll do some what? Read and correct. Okay, so 3 stages we'll take for the workshop. Okay, so the first thing, we need to tell you what surah it is, right?
Yeah.
Or guess. Make you guess. Everybody guess. All right, and I don't have any candy to throw for the one. I meant to bring candy. I told the one brother I would bring candy. I didn't bring candy, subhanAllah.
I got some more holes.
We have halls, yeah. I can throw some halls, yeah. SubhanAllah. So anyway, the surah we're going to do is at-Tariq. Surah at-Tariq. And if you have the mushaf, it's going to be 591 in the mushaf. It's going to be 591 in the mushaf. Ajib. We're actually going to throw halls. Okay, khalas. Why not? All right, so the first thing we'll do, like I said, ya ikhwan, is we're going to pick out those huruf which are typically challenging, or they're not huruf that we have in the English language. They're not huruf that we have in the English language, so we have to make sure that we pronounce those correctly. All right. طيب. لا بأس لا بأس. الحمد لله. I know you did it on purpose. الحمد لله. طيب. All right, يا إخوان. طيب, so in this surah, I see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I see 8 letters that will need to make sure that we can pronounce those correctly. 8 letters that might be problematic, let's say. And those are Ta, Qaf, Ain, Ha, Dha, Kha, Sad, and Dad. Okay? So those are 8 letters that we need to make sure that we pronounce correctly before we start actually reading the surah. So let's start with the letter Ta, which you see it in the first ayah. Was Sama'i wa Tariq. In that second word, the letter which has the shadda over it, looks like a half sod with an asa, with a stick. That's Ta, right? Okay, so now how do we pronounce Ta? Okay, I want you to picture, I probably need a board, don't I? All right, perfect. All right, ya ikhwan. So imagine can everybody see that? You guys see that? I'm sorry. Everybody see it now? Yeah. All right, so imagine that these are your front teeth. See that? That's a good drawing. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. It's a good drawing. Alhamdulillah. All right, so imagine that these are your teeth, right? So what's here? Gums. Ahsant. Yeah. On the back side of your gums, just above the teeth, your tongue should what? Should strike right in here. Should strike right in there. And it should be thick, not thin. So it shouldn't strike like this. It should strike like this. You make it thick. Okay? You thicken it. You don't make the tongue thin. You make it thick. And you strike right there at the gum line, just above the teeth. Ta. 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 At-Tariq. Ahsantum. طيب, mumtaz. So that's a ta. But the next letter is qaf. All right, let's do this one like this. All right, everybody knows cat, like the K in kite, right? Everybody knows that, right? Cat, say that. Cat. That's easy. When you say cat, what happens? Your tongue hits almost the middle of what? Of your palate, the roof of your mouth. Cat. You guys see that? What I want you to do is I want you to try to push that tongue what? Back maybe 2/10 of an inch, something like that. I know that's pretty precise, but you get the point. Try to push it back. Instead of ka, say qa. Now the tongue won't strike, but you pull it back. You pull it back. When you pull it back, you're gonna get qa instead of ka. So let's do that. Ka, qa, qa. You guys see that? Is it working for you? No. You see it? So when you pull that tongue back slightly, you change what? You change the exit of the air, and you create what? You create a different sound. It's just like I don't know if you guys are musical, I'm not, but it's just like if you have like a guitar, right? Right? I'm not, but if you change, right? You have a guitar, you hit this string, you get this sound, you hit this string, you get what? That sound. You move your hand here, you get this sound, you move your hand down, you get that sound. It's the same effect, ya ikhwan. So cat, qa, huh? Everybody got it? Feel pretty comfortable with that? Mumtaz, alhamdulillah.
A thick one,
Yeah, the qa is thick, yeah. Qa is thick. It's definitely a thick letter. All right, so we're done. 2 letters down, 6 to go. 6 to go. But the next one is ayn. Ayn. All right, ayn, which is this letter. That letter, right? Ayn. All right, this one, let me think of the best way to do that. Okay, the ayn is right about here in the throat. And so what you're gonna have to do is the air exits, you have to what? You have to squeeze. Squeeze right here. So when you squeeze here and the air comes out again, it creates that sound. Mumtaz. You guys sound great. But everybody sounds great when it's everybody. It's them, don't they? When you have one person picked out, that's when you get, oh, brother, you don't have that. MashaAllah.
I was gonna assist Ibrahim, but
MashaAllah. It's like when people go for the, to do the citizenship pledge or whatever, right? And so there's a lot of people who are actually saying, other people are just going. They're not saying anything, right? They're just moving their lips, right? So we'll actually see when we go individually who's who, right? All right, so now let's go to the next letter, which is what? Ha. Right, that letter, which we don't have in English. We do have ha, the soft one. We don't have ha in English. So now this one, what you're going to do is similar to what you did for ayn. Okay, you're going to push out the air, but you have to what? Close the throat cavity so that what? So you create friction. Because this is an abrasive letter, and you can hear the abrasiveness when you pronounce it. Ha, ha, ha. So you hear that, you hear and you feel what? The friction as the air what? Exits. So you have to squeeze the throat cavity close as you let the air exit, and you'll create what? Ha, 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 ha. Good.
Afwan, can you say the other hat so then they know the difference?
And that one comes from the diaphragm, so ha, ha, ha. So notice when you say ha, which comes from here, you what? You open wide and the air just what? Flows out. There's no friction. Ha. And the other one, ha, ha. So diaphragm, ha. From the throat, ha, ha, ha. Good job, good job. All right. Next one, next letter is what? Va. That's the next letter we want to look at. Va. Now va, what we do with va is like you did for ba, you have to make the tongue thick, and it needs to what? Exit the mouth. It has to exit the mouth, and then you're going to what? Squeeze on it. So two things you need to do: make the tongue thick, let it exit. Well, three things: thicken the tongue, let it exit, and squeeze. Va. 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 See how thick my tongue? Va. Tongue is thick and it comes out, and then you what? Squeeze and you get that sound. Va. Why is it important to make it thick? Because if you make it thin, you get what? That. You have two different letters. You have va and what? That. That. Va. That. Va. That. Va. You guys see the difference? See the difference? If you guys are musical, you definitely see it because you're moving the chords, right? You get that, right? All right, I'm not musical, but I'm just saying. You are, huh? Well, you have to know the huruf in order to pronounce, in order to do tajweed, right? You have to know the huruf. So you guys got it, right? You got that one. So that's important. That's why it's significant. That's why the Arabic letters are so sensitive. Just by making the tongue thick or thin, you change what? You change the letter. And you can actually change the meaning, right? So va, that. Va, that. Mumtaz. Okay. Now the next letter is the sister of ha, which is, write that a little bit better. Kha, right? Kha. You guys remember we did the ka exercise? So we had ka, it's almost like the center roof of your mouth and the tongue just kind of almost touches it. Ka, right? Qa, you pull the tongue back, okay? So kha is even deeper than that. So ka, qa, kha. 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 And it's almost like you're gargling, right? Kha. Let's do an exercise. We're going to go ka, qa, kha. So you go here, here, and then here. Okay? So the kha, you pull the tongue back further than you did for qaf, and you have to what? Squeeze to create some friction. So ka, qa, kha. Ka, qa, kha. Ka, qa, kha. Ka, qa, kha. Got it? Feel good about it? We're going to see when we do the individual. But next one is sad, this letter, which we don't have in English. which we don't have in English. Sad, right? Okay, so now that letter, the way you do it is, I want you to take your tongue and put it straight up to the roof of your mouth, straight up, and then move forward. So when you move forward, then you're going to come to like almost like a ridge. Do you guys notice that? There's like a ridge. So there's like a cavity. It's hollow. You move forward toward the teeth, and then what? There's like this little ridge. You guys feel that? Feel that ridge? Right there at that ridge, you want to take your tongue thickened, push it there, and then what? Let the air come out. Sad. Sad. Sa. 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 So you want to be able to distinguish between these two. For sa, the tongue what? Tongue what? Goes down and almost touches what? The teeth. Sa. 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 You guys see the difference? Okay? Tongue goes up and is thickened for what? Sa. It goes up to that ridge. Sa. 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 Got it? Make sense? Alhamdulillah. So we've got one left. That's this guy. Yep, sister of Sad is what? Bat. What you do for this one, it's going to take a little muscle. What you do for that one, you have to take the tongue and pull it back. Turn to the left side, preferably, although it works on both sides. Turn to the left side, preferably. And then you notice that we did that little drill where you had your tongue up into the cavity of your mouth, the roof of your mouth. Do the same thing now, but take it to the left and go down toward the teeth.
The canine.
Okay? So now just above the tooth, on that gum line, that's where you're going to what? Press. So you basically take the tongue, take it up to the left, push it just to the gum, just above the teeth, right? And you're going to get what? Ba. Now, ba is one of those letters where you don't hear it until you release. You don't hear it until you want release. So basically, you're not going to hear anything. You hear when you want release. Ba. 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 It's like bat. You don't hear anything till what? You let go. Bat. Got it? Same thing. Ba. And it takes effort. And most people, because we're lazy, we just make bad a va. Right? So they'll say, Sirat al-ladhina namta alayhim ghayr al-maghdubi alayhim wala dhalin. They just make it va. But no, it's actually its own letter with its own sound, and you're going to hear the difference. Let's say we said, I want you to close your eyes. Listen to this. Tell me, do you hear the difference? Al-dhalin, al-dhalin. Do you hear a difference? No. They're two different letters. They're two different distinct. They're not the same letter. So in order to get that sound, this lad, you have to do what? Go up, over to the left, preferably, just above the teeth. Al-da. 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 And the best way to practice it is put a hamza in front of it and put a sukoon on the dad. Al. So you're just practicing now just what? The muscle. Getting the muscles in your mouth used to what? Going up, left. You get used to it. And then what? You can pronounce it with ease. Al-Dalin, right? Mumtaz. So those are the letters we want to pick out, ya ikhwan. And what we'll do is, we'll stop. That's good. Because we're going to see in the individuals, right? Who's who, right? All right, so now let's look at some of the ahkam al-tajweed that's in the, that's actually in the surah that we'll need. So if you look at the first ayah, was-sama, you notice you have see that squiggly line just above the alif? See that squiggly line just above the alif? You guys see that? No. Looks like this. You guys see that? Yeah. No. We call that a med. That's a med. That's telling you to elongate. Med in Arabic means what? To stretch or to elongate, right? So that's telling you that, hey, this letter should be what? Elongated. How long should we elongate it? In this case, we should elongate it 4 counts. What's a count? It's like basically the time it takes to lift a finger and put it down. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what? 4 counts. That's how long we would hold that what? That med, that elongation. So whenever you see that squiggly line, you know that what you're supposed to what? Stretch that letter elongated. So let's practice that. Was-sama.
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 Good. Was-sama.
Was-sama.
Man, we should take this show on the road, man. It's good. All right. We're going to put it together now with what? Well, before we do that, let's do one other thing. So now the next thing I want to show you, I want to point out this what? This last letter, which is qaf, right? Qaf has a special characteristic along with 5 other letters from the Arabic language. And that characteristic, that quality is the quality of what? Al-qalqala. That basically when you stop on it, it naturally what? Pops. It naturally pops or echoes. That's good. Okay? So when you stop on a qaf, or you stop on a ba, or you stop on a ta, or you stop on a jim or a dal, when you stop on any one of those letters, it will naturally what? Naturally pop. Okay? And the only way it won't pop is if you actually force it not to. Its natural quality is what? It pops. So when you stop on qutubu jaddin, qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, any one of those letters. So now when you stop on this qaf, you should stop on it and the natural pop should come out, which resembles what? Half of a fatha, half of an A. So the way it should sound is like this. Tariqa, 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 tariqa. Now remember how we pronounced it. So make sure you're pronouncing it correctly because it'll naturally from that pronunciation, from that point of pronunciation, it'll come out. So let's try it again. Tariqa. 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 Good. Okay, let's put the 2 together. Was-samaa'i wat-tariqa.
Was-samaa'i wat-tariqa.
Good. All right. Now look at the next ayah and you're going to see there's a dal in the 3rd word in the ayah, which has a sukoon on it. And we said that the letters qaf, ta, ba, jim, dal, they all have this quality of what? Qalqala. So that means when we pronounce that, it should also have that what? That natural pop. Also, if you look, you see another squiggly line over what? Over ma. Now this is a different med than the first one we did, but what we're going to do, we're going to treat it like we're going to treat them all the same to avoid confusion. So whenever we see that squiggly line, we're going to do what? We're going to do 4. So we did 4 for the first one, we're going to do 4 for this one to avoid confusion. Although this one could be treated a little bit differently. I just want you to understand that. But to avoid confusion, we're going to make it what? 4. So let's do those 2 words together. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ. أدراك أدراك. You guys hear that? أدراك. Good. أدراك. Now we're going to put those 2 together. So we have was-samaa'i wat-tariq and وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ. We're going to put them together, okay? Was-samaa'i wat-tariq.
Was-samaa'i wat-tariq.
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ.
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ.
All right, now we'll put them together. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ.
وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ.
Pretty good. All right. All right. Now, the last part of that second verse is just like what we just did, right? So it should have the same effect. We're going to stop on that qaf and create what? That popping noise. We're going to put these 2 verses together and it'll sound like this. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ.
وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ.
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ.
وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ.
Good job. All right, now in the third ayah, we have another tajweed rule. And that tajweed rule is noon al-mushaddada, the doubled noon. Notice that noon in the word an-najm has a shed on the top of it, which is telling you what? Double this letter. Whenever we double a noon, noon has a special quality. Yeah, ikhwan, has a special quality. And that's the quality of what? A quality of what? Of ringing. Of ringing, or it has this like nasal quality about it. Exactly, they call it ghunna in Arabic. Okay, so it has a natural nasal quality, and this is one of the adornments of the Quran. The adornments of the Quran is this what? This ghunna. One of the things that makes it sound so beautiful is that what? That nasal ringing sound, right? So when we have a double noon, you're supposed to hear what? That ringing, and hold it for 2 counts. Remember we talked about 2 beats being 1 or 2 counts being 1. Raising a finger once is 1 beat, second time would be 2 beats. So that natural, what I want you to do is I want you to say ring.
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 I want you to hold it now. Don't you hear that? Don't you hear it now? I want you to hold the N now for a little bit in ring. Ring.
Ring.
You hear that? Ooh, that sounds nice, doesn't it? Okay? So the same thing occurs when we double the what? The noon. That you should hear that what? You should hear that nasal noon, that ringing sound. You should hear it for what? For 2 beats. So the way it would sound is like this. An-najm.
An-najm.
Now somebody tell me what other rule we have in this word right here.
The jeen.
Qalqala. Jeen, sukoon, right? So we should have that little pop. So it should sound like this. An-najmu. 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 Again. 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 Good job. Good job. An-najmu thaqib. Now you got to double that tha. Nothing special about it, but you got to double it. But what do you notice at the end of the ayah? There's a ba, which is one of those letters but has qalqala. So when you stop on it, you have to hear that little what? Pop. So it should sound like this. An-najmu thaqib.
An-najmu thaqib.
An-najmu thaqib.
An-najmu thaqib.
Man, mashallah. All right. So now we have 3 verses that we're able to string together and apply the rules that we've learned thus far, being 3 of them, med, lazim, or med. We won't say med lazim because only one of them is med lazim, the other is not lazim. Med, stretching or elongating, and qalqala, that little pop, and noon mushaddada. So I'm going to read all 3, and then I'm going to call on whoever wants to. I won't force anyone just yet. Whoever wants to read all 3 together, okay? So I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to have someone else or a few of you read it.
I think maybe
You want to do?
just everybody. Yeah.
You really?
Yeah, everybody.
All right, if you twist my arm, that's what he said. I mean, I'm just,
Can I talk?
I didn't want to take you outside. All right, so let's do this. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ. What? No, I'm going to read it all. I'm going to read all 3. I'm going to read all 3, and then I'm going to call on a few of you to do the same thing. All right? وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الطَّارِقِ. النَّجْمُ الثَّاقِبِ. All right. So now who would like to try it? Who would like to try it? I'll give some Ricola. Yeah, I don't have any candy, but I'll give some Ricola. Yeah. You want to do it, Jackie? ها تفضل يا شيخ تفضل تفضل.
والسماء والطارق
طارق. I need to hear that. طا.
وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب.
Not bad, but the endings we need a little bit more qalqala. So you conceal the qalqala, but it was pretty good. Jazakallah khair. Ahsanta. Allah يبارك فيك. Allah يبارك فيك. طيب, okay, who else wants to try? تفضل يا شيخ. يا تفضل. Ooh, mashallah, Jameel. Nobody wants to follow that. Nobody wants to follow that. Ahsant, ahsant, ahsant. Yeah, that's right, that's right. MashaAllah. طيب. All right. We should have bought candy, man. Haram. We stopped the CVS and everything. We didn't get candy. SubhanAllah. Yeah. Or we can get some. Let's get some. They should have candy. We should have some chocolate or something. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. No, they won't do it for that. But they should get it anyway. They won't do it for that, but they should get it. We should reward them. طيب. All right. Who else? Who else wants to try? Tafadhal Ali. Yes, please.
والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم ثاقب
نجمث. Double the tha. نجمث.
النجم الثاقب.
Good job. All right. Who else wants to try? Anybody else? تفضل أبو عمر. Yeah, أكيد.
والسماء والطارق وما
طارق.
طارق
Good.
وما أدراك ما الطارق
طارق.
طارق
Good.
النجم الثاقب
ثاقبة. ثاقبة. I'm sorry. Say it again. ثاقبة.
ثاقب
ثاقبة.
ثاقبة.
Good job. All right, pretty good يا إخوان. تفضل سامي أكيد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب.
Good job. أحسنت أحسنت. طيب ممتاز يا إخوان. All right. So should we go on to the next one? All right, so the next ayah, I want you to notice something. This is the good thing about this particular script of the Quran. Notice that you have the word in, and the noon, although it's vowelless, they don't put what? A sukoon over it. That's a hint. They're telling you there's a rule here. And you're not going to pronounce this noon as a noon. If you were, we'd put what? We'd put sukoon over it. So when they don't put the sukoon, they're telling you, hey, there's a rule here. They're giving you like a little heads up. So the rule here, ya ikhwan, we call ikhfa. Ikhfa, the rule of hiding. You're going to hide the noon. This is specific to the noon, the letter noon. We're going to hide that noon. Okay, we're going to conceal it. Where we're going to hide it, we're going to conceal it behind the following letter. We're going to conceal it behind the following letter. And the way this is done, ya ikhwan, is that you go from the vowel of the previous letter to the makhraj, the pronunciation point of the following letter. And you, just before you touch that pronunciation point, you pronounce the noon with ghunna from the nasal passage, okay? You pronounce it and you hold it for 2 counts. And then you pronounce what? Pronounce that letter. So the way it would sound in this case is I go from the vowel of E, right? I go from the vowel of what? E. You guys see that? Before in you have what? E, right? Perfect. From there I go to what? Ka. It's as if I'm going to say what? Ik. It's as if I'm going to say ik. But before you hear the kaf, before I say ik, I stop just before the makhraj. Just before that. Allah is khair. All right. We're in business now. We're in business. We're in business. Okay, so this is mine. And this is your guys. Okay, so anyway, right?
That's the stint.
I'm a stinter, aren't I? SubhanAllah. So anyway, right? So it's as if you're going to say what ik, but instead of actually saying the kaf, you pronounce the noon from that spot. So it'll sound like this. Ink, 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 ink. Try that. Ink, 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 ink. So make sure that your tongue is positioned like you're going to pronounce kaf, but before you pronounce it, you hold it just before the makhraj and you pronounce what? The noon. And that's what they call what? Hiding. So instead of saying in kul, you say what? In kul. Let's try the two. Let's do the first one. In kul. In kul. In kul. In kul.
Inkul.
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 Mumtaz. Huh?
Is it half noon?
Like a half noon. You're hiding that noon. You're hiding that noon. You don't pronounce it. Ahsant. Ahsant. Tfadl.
I have missed it. When we say in and when we say in, might be I have missed
Mumtaz. Okay. That's a good point, Babar. Okay, so you have.
One more thing, Sheikh. You were saying this ayah. It is by default. It actually sounds like the English word ink.
MashaAllah.
You
Hey.
said that.
Hey.
Alif, noon, and ka, and it actually sounds like ink.
Sah. That's a good point. I have to use. Is that copyrighted? I want to use that next time. You know what I need, ya Ikhwan? Just a little piece of Kleenex or something. Because Babar asked a really good question. Okay, perfect. I didn't even see it. Allah is khair. Allah yu'afik. Allah yu'afik. All right, perfect. All right. So Babar asked a really good question. He said, well, how do we know when do we do this hiding and when do we actually pronounce the noon as it is? That's a good point. So basically, Ikhwan, you have some letters which are letters of what they call idhar. Letters that what? You have to pronounce the noon in its entirety, as it is. And those letters are Hamza and Kha and Ha. It should be the opposite, right? Ha and then Kha. Hamza wa Ha wa Kha wa Ain wa Ghain wa Shu. La, we did that. And Ha, sah. And Ha. Munhamir. La, not Ha. Munhamir. Nah, sah. Ha, you're right. All right. So these letters.
Turn it a little more.
I'm sorry. Well, I want to make sure he saw it too, though. I'll turn to you. So these letters, Babar, Hamza, wa Ha, wa Kha, wa Ain, wa Ghain, wa Ha. Those letters, when they're preceded by a noon, the noon is pronounced what? As a noon. Okay? All right? But the other letters, you're going to do one or two things. You're either going to hide it or you're going to assimilate it. Most letters you what? You assimilate. But most letters you hide. But there are 6 letters where you assimilate. Those 6 letters are Ya, Waw, Noon, Ra, Lam, and Mim. Those letters you what? You assimilate. Okay, you assimilate. Some of them you assimilate totally, so you won't hear the noon at all. Like what? Right, Yarmalun. I just did it like this because I wanted to see the ones where you'll still hear the noon. You'll still hear the noon for these. But you won't hear the noon for what? For these. So the total assimilation. So for example, let's say I had min and I had ma. So I have a noon followed by what? A meme. I'm going to turn to them, I promise. So I have a noon followed by a meme. Okay? And that's one of what? The letters where you assimilate. And it's one of the letters where you assimilate, you don't hear the noon at all. So I pronounce this as what? Mimma. See that? Mimma. Suppose I had, I'm going to turn to you guys, I promise. So suppose I had min and I had rabbik. Okay? So I have noon followed by what? Ra. And Ra is one of the letters where you don't hear what? The noon at all. So it'll be what? Mir rabbik. Got it? Mir rabbik. Got it? Make sense? But suppose I had min followed by what? Yeah. Also for the letters of what? Assimilation. But it's not total assimilation. You can still hear the noon. So this would sound like this. May ya'mal. May ya'mal. May ya'mal. See that? So I assimilate. All right, you guys see that? So the first side, the left side, are the letters where we pronounce the noon as it is, with no hiding and no assimilation. These are the letters of what? Assimilation. Partial, total. Partial, total. And the rest of the letters, we do hiding. The rest of the letters we do what? We hide. And kaf is from those what? That rest, right? Kaf is from those what? That rest.
Afwan, can you hold it up for
You got it? You want to get closer?
Nope. Zoom in
Okay.
technology. Yeah.
MashaAllah.
Shukran.
Got it? Okay, perfect. All right, so now with that said, yeah, Juan. So here we're going to hide the noon. In kullu. Let's say it together. In kullu. 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 Very good. All right, now we come to the next. We come to the next word. Sin. Ends in what? Now look what it ends in. What does nafsin end in?
Tanween.
Ends in tanween. It's a double kesra, isn't it? We call that tanween. When you have a double fatha, double kesra, double dhamma, we call it what? Tanween, right? You guys with me? Another thing about this script, they're always helping you out. They're just helpful. We should call this the helpful script, right? Because the way they write it is so that the person who's reading can read with what? Tajweed. So there's something significant you notice about these two kesras. Normally when we write a kesra, so let's take a letter. The letter we have here is sin, right? So we write sin with kesratan. That's how it normally would look. See, they're like one just above the other perfectly. All right? But notice, are those perfect?
No.
They're offset, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're a little offset. See that? So when they're offset, they're saying, hey, there's a rule here. There's a rule here. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Now, what is tanween in effect? What is tanween in effect? In effect, tanween is what? It's a noon with sukoon. It's a noon with sukoon. So we just said that the rule for noon with sukoon is if it's followed by these letters, pronounce it as is. Followed by these letters, assimilate. Any other letters, you do what? Hide. The letter that comes after this tanween, is it a letter of hiding? No. It's a letter of what? Assimilation. Complete assimilation. Okay? So the way that's going to work, it should sound like this. Nafsil. Nafsil. Say that. Nafsil. You shouldn't hear the noon at all. You should hear the what? The lam. Total assimilation. Nafsil. 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 Let's put those two together. In kullu nafsil. 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 Now after that lam, there's a meme, isn't there? And that meme is what? Mushaddada. So that's another rule. Meme mushaddada. We pronounce it with what? With that same ghunna that we do for noon. Mushaddada. We hold it for what? 2 counts. So it should sound like this. Lamma. And notice the ma has what? An alif, so that's 2 counts. So the meme that you double and the a that you pronounce should have the same length. That's how you can kind of measure yourself. Lamma. 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 Now let's try to put all 3 of those together. In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. Somebody threw it off. You guys ever, when you were like in kindergarten, you do row, row, row your boat, row, row, row your boat. You always have that student, row, row, no, no, God, take it out. Right? All right, let's do it again, all right? In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. Got that student again. Let's try it again. In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. Good job. In kullu nafsin lamma. In kullu nafsin lamma. Mumtaz. All right, now comes our friend Ain. عليها عليها
عليها
عليها.
عليها.
Let's try to put all those together. إن كل نفس لما عليها.
إن كل نفس لما عليها.
Good job. إن كل نفس لما عليها.
إن كل نفس لما عليها.
حافظ
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 حافظ.
حافظ.
إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ.
إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ.
All right, so let's try that out now. Who'll read just that ayah that we just took, ayah number 4? Who'll read that for us? And it has to be somebody who didn't read already. So who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? I got candy. Who's going to do it? I have candy. You want to do it? Yeah, you can do it. Come on. تفضل تفضل. Awesome. Awesome, brother. Awesome, brother. Good job. Very good. Awesome. All right, who else can do it? Who else will do it for us? Who wants to follow that, right? That was really, really good. I need at least one more person to do this ayah. تفضل عباسي. Yes. عليها حافظ. حافظ. Hey. Your first part was excellent. That first part you did was excellent. We just had a little problem at the end. Let's do one more time, the whole thing. Okay, it's عليها and then حافظ. Hey, you're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing fine. Okay, so the first one, عليها, it's the soft one, the soft ha. So say this with me. عليها. Good. And then the second one's the hard one. حافظ. Good job, Abasi. Mumtaz. Mumtaz. Okay, I don't know if I should give you. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Okay, who else? No, you did earn it. You did earn it. You more than earned it. You more than earned it. All right, so who else? Give me one more person. Who else wants to try that one? Tafadhal ya Shaykh. Yes, yes, please. Yes, yes. Tafadhal. ممتاز. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. تفضل يا شيخ. تفضل. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. He's like, before he changed his mind. Before he changed his mind. Mumtaz. All right, Mumtaz. All right, let's go on, ya Ikhwan. Let's go on. All right. Okay, so now notice in the next word, the first word in the next ayah, you have that noon again, don't you?
No.
You have that noon with no what? Sukoon. So again, the helpful khat, the helpful script, tells you, hey, there's a rule here. What's that rule going to be? Ikhfa. You're going to hide again, right? It's one of the letters of hiding, right? So it's going to sound like this. فَلْيَنْظُرْ. Now I want you to notice a little something. When we did ikhfa the first time, the noon was what? It was raqiq. It was thin. And that's because the letter after it was a thin letter. So we said in kullu. But the letter that comes after this noon is what? Thick. So the noon takes on its what? Its qualities and becomes thickened. Because you're going to the makhraj, the pronunciation point of that letter. So since it's thick, the noon is going to what? Inherit some of those qualities and become thick. So notice the difference. In kullu. فَلْيَنْظُرْ. You guys see that? So see how you got thick in the second instance? All right. So that's the way it'll be. فَلْيَنْظُرْ.
فلينظر
فَلْيَنْظُرْ.
فلينظر
فَلْيَنْظُرْ.
فلينظر
ممتاز. Al-insan. Again, we're going to hide behind the scene. So it'll be like this. Al-insan.
الإنسان
Al-insan.
الإنسان
Al-insan.
الإنسان
Let's put those two together. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ.
فلينظر الإنسان
فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ.
فلينظر الإنسان
فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ.
فلينظر الإنسان
فَلْيَنْظُرُ الْإِنسَانُ.
فلينظر الإنسان.
Perfect. Now you come to the next word and it has that meme mushaddada. So the rule is going to be the same, right? We're going to double that meme and pronounce it with what? Ghunna, holding it for how many counts? Two counts. Mimma.
مما
Mimma.
مما.
Now notice this doesn't have an alif after it, does it?
No.
So the doubling should be longer than the vowel in this case. In the previous one, the doubling and the vowel were the same length. So we said what? Lamma, lamma, lamma. But in the case of this one, the doubling,
Yes.
Haris family. Haris family. Sammy.
all right, so in this case, the doubling is going to be longer than the vowel. You guys notice that? So in this one, we say mimma.
مما
So it should be short. Mimma.
مما.
Doubling is going to not change, 2 counts, but because we don't have that elif after it, we're going to shorten what? The vowel. So we say mimma.
مما.
Okay, so let's put all 3 of those together. فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا.
فلينظر الإنسان مما.
فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا.
فلينظر الإنسان مما.
Good. Now remember now, Allah yukrimak, Allah yukrimak, Allah yukrimak. So now, the good thing about tajweed is if we follow the rules, we're always going to be on the same page. We're always going to, if we start at the same time, we should end at what? The same time, because all counts. It's all beats, right? So remember, your ikhfa, 2 counts. And that nun mushaddad is what? 2 counts. So keep your beats on point, and we'll start the same and end the same. So let's try one more time. فَلْيَنظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا.
فلينظر الإنسان مما.
Perfect, ya ikhwan. Now all we have to do is complete the ayah with that kha that we learned how to pronounce. And at the end of it, we have that qaf, which should be pronounced with what? A little pop, qalqala, right? So that's khuliqa, khuliqa,
خلق
khuliqa.
خلق.
Let's put it all together. فَلْيَنظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
مما خلق.
مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
مما خلق.
See, I hear a couple of ma. I hear a couple of those. Is it ma or ma? Good. مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
مما خلق.
مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
مما خلق.
فَلْيَنظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ مِمَّا خُلِقَ.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
Good. All right. Who's going to do it individually? Someone who hasn't done it yet. You want to go for it, Salim? Yes, sir. Go for it. Go for it.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this.
You're fine. You're fine. Alhamdulillah. Take your time. All right. Let's just do a little calibration here. Let's do the first word. فلينظر. فلينظر الإنسان. Good job, Salim. Mimma. Let's put them all together. Now shorten your ending though. Shorten your ending. Shorten your ending. Mimma. All right, let's put them all three together. فلينظر الإنسان مما. Let's gotta put it together. We gotta make wasl though. We can't stop. We can't break it there. We gotta continue. Let's try it again. فلينظر الإنسان مما. All right, now make it short though. Don't say mimma. Say mimma. Good. Now we gotta put it all together and add خلق. فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. Just shorten the ma just a little bit. مما. مما خلق. مما خلق. Okay, I tell you what you do. Make it really short. Make it shorter than it should be. And this is a good trick, ya ikhwan. Whenever you have a problem of overcompensating, purposely make it shorter than it should be. And what's going to happen is going to all even out. Okay, so if I have a problem of overdoing something in tajweed, underdo it, and it'll end up doing what? Evening out. So what I want you to do, Salim, is instead of making it a fatha, make it a half fatha. Okay? Let's try it one more time. مما خلق. Again. Again. Good. Now put it all together. فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. Good job, Salim. All right, good job. Alhamdulillah. Give me one more person who'll try it. One more person try that. Tafadhal, Shaykh. Yes. Now that was very good, except the va, it needs a little tweaking.
I hear the Pakistani.
It needs a little tweak. It's a little tweak, just a little. So now I know in the subcontinent, that letter with that symbol has what? Has that pronunciation you gave it. That's perfect. But here we need to what? Pronounce it with that style that I gave you. So now what I want you to do is, I want you to take your tongue, thicken a little bit, and just push it out. Va. Va. Yandur. Good job. Now give it to me like that. One more time with a va. One more time. Va. Yandur. Va. Push it out. Good job. Pretty good.
Can you say va?
Va. Va.
Say that.
Hey, it's getting better. You move this way. You move this way. There's no question. And for that, I have this. Good job. All right. Good job, ya ikhwan. You guys are doing excellent. All right. Let's see where we're at now. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which will be khuliqa min ma'in. Okay. What time you guys want to break?
No.
No.
Want to take a break?
No.
For some refreshments? You take it for some time? 11:45? You want to do 15 more, Sammy, or you want to break now? Okay. All right, we'll do 15 more minutes. خلاص لا بأس لا بأس. All right, طيب يا إخوان. So we go to the next ayah, which starts with right where we ended, right? Khuliqa. No issues with that. Khuliqa min. What do you notice about min? Ends in what? Noon. But the noon doesn't have any what?
No vowels. No harakat.
Nothing on it. Helpful Quran.
It's hidden.
Right? It's telling you, hey,
You gotta assimilate it.
hey, listen to me. There's a rule here, right? And it's followed by what? Meme. And we said that meme was from one of those letters that we do what? We do total assimilation. But because it's a meme, it's going to have this what?
Nasal.
It's nasal. You're not going to hear the noon, but you can hear its what? Its quality of what? Nasal. So the way it's going to sound is like this. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ. And we have our friend, Med came back, right? That elongation. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ. Good job. One more time. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ. Now it ends in a tanween. What do you notice about the tanween? Offset. Telling you, hey, there's a rule here, and the rule is going to be what? Is it going to be idhar, where we pronounce the noon as is? Is it going to be idgham, where we assimilate it? Or is it going to be ikhfa, where we hide it? Ikhfa, because one of those letters, that's the other, right? The other letters, right? So we're going to assimilate that into what? Into the dal, okay? And we're going to end with a qalqala because the letter at the end is what? A qaf, okay? So it should sound like this. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ دَافِقٍ. Don't forget, you got to assimilate that tanween and hold it for 2 counts. Everything else was perfect, but don't forget that when you assimilate, you got to hold it for how many counts? 2 counts. Let's try it again. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ دَافِقٍ. Let's just do that. Let's just do the tanween and the last word. Indafiqa. 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 Now let's put it all together. Khuliq. Yes.
The word nafsil lamma, where you had the same mean sign with the offset. Can you just repeat that? Because I'm getting confused why we are saying the noon sound here. And there we just went straight to the lam.
Okay, so here, remember that Ra, Lam, and Mim are from the group where you do total assimilation. Ra and Lam, you will not hear the noon at all. But Mim, you'll hear what? The quality of noon, which is what? That nasal pronunciation. So that's why you still hear because it's that exception to the rule. Mim, you're going to hear nasal, but you won't hear the noon. Ra and Lam, you won't hear the noon or nasal. Okay. Barakallahu feek. All right, so let's say that again. Indafiqa. Indafiqa. Okay, we're going to put it all together now. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ دَافِقٍ. One more time. خُلِقَ مِن مَّاءٍ دَافِقٍ. All right. Individuals now. Who's going to do that individually? Someone who has not read. And I don't want to start calling names. All right, Baba. Good job. Good job. Because I didn't want to have to. I don't have to call on you. All right, go ahead, Yashik. Go ahead. That was pretty good, Baba, except the qaf of khuliqa sounded like a little bit of kaf. It was like mixed. So I need a clear qaf. Khuliqa. Say it again. Dafiqa. Don't say da, say da. Dafiqa. Good job. One more time, Baba. No, you had it right. Da, not da. Da. You had it right. Do it again. Again. Khuliqa.
dafiqo.
Good job, Baba. All right.
So why is it A so hard?
Barakallah, if you deserve it, huh?
It's a dal instead of dal.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah, it's a thin letter.
So
Thin letters don't have that rounded pronunciation. So you have, like, for example, the, va. Notice va, because it's a thick letter, it has that that rounded sound. But the other letters, which are not thick, they should have what? A flat sound. So in the case of thal, we say the. In the case of va, we say va. The, va. Got it? Za, ra. Za is a flat, thin letter. Za, not a. So the fatha that comes after it, how does the letter affect its sound? If it's a thick letter, it rounds a little bit. And if it's a thin letter, it should be what? Flat sounding. So when he said da, but dal is a thin letter, so it should be what? Da. You see the difference? Da, ba, if you will. Ba is a thick letter, so it affects the fatha and makes it what? Rounded. All instead of what? A. Makes sense?
Now, and this ties into what you're going on when I was studying tajweed. They mentioned how those letters, the way the letter is affects the vowel, how you pronounce it.
Yeah, no question.
So da, it affects the aleph that comes after it. So that's why you have a different. A da gives a ah sound,
Right.
and da has a a sound. So that aleph that comes after it, it could be the same aleph, but because there's a da to be from it,
In front of it.
the ad that the sound that
Inherits that quality.
It inherits, instead of it being a it's an
Ahsan.
So like saw.
Exactly. A rounded.
It picks up those characteristics.
Ahsan. That's correct. That's 100% correct. All right. I need another volunteer. Jazakallah khair, Shaykh. I appreciate you volunteering because I had somebody in mind that was going to get thrown under the bus. You saved them, but you only saved them for the time it's going to take you because I'm going to call them next. So go ahead, Shaykh. That was good. Hold your noon, followed by the meme. Hold it a little bit longer, 2 counts. So khuliqa mimma. Very good. Now all you have to do now, perfect pronunciation, is that med, I want you to elongate it for 4 counts. So it should be twice as long as that noon followed by the meme. So you said mim, that was 2 counts. When you go to ma, make it what? Double that. Go ahead. That was good, but you shortened the first one now. Do it one more time. That was pretty good. Yeah. That was pretty good.
Abdullah, there's another thing.
You know, come on, Amr. And what I want you to do, Amr, I want you to do 1 through 6. Okay? Because you waited so long, so I have to punish you now. You waited so long, so I have to punish you. Go ahead, Ali.
Could you also mention?
Yeah, you can. You can.
One of the things that helped me was that the teacher told me that you have to find your voice in reciting Quran. Because like we hear someone that sounds good, so like either we'll raise our voice or we'll lower our voice trying to sound good.
Subhanallah.
But we have to actually recite in our voice.
MashaAllah.
So you have to actually find what is your voice.
That's a good point.
Because some of us like we'll start raising our voice to sound good, or we'll deepen our voice to try to sound to match our teacher.
Subhanallah.
But in reality, we have to find our comfortable voice.
Jameen.
And that everybody has a voice where you can make every single letter. And then the other thing was to give each letter its
due.
It's due. Spend time with each letter.
MashaAllah.
You're getting barakah for every letter. So spend the time with each letter.
Jameen.
Learn each letter and spend
Kalam tayyib. Kalam tayyib. Jazakallah khair. That's good. That was a good point. All right, Fadl Shaykh, go ahead.
I just remember these points from our
Because we were all trying to sound like Abd'Llah.
1 through 6, inshallah.
You want to do 1 through 6? All right, ahsanta. Allah yuqawik.
I want to try.
Allah yuqawik. All right.
والسماء والطارق وما أدراك ما الطارق النجم الثاقب
Good.
إن كل نفس إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ.
Good.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق. خلق من ماء دافق.
Good job. MashaAllah. Yes, salam. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
No, why not? Well, I'll take yours.
Akhi, for that, I think inshallah after Amr gets finished, he should also do 10 push-ups.
Really? Because he didn't, he waited this long, didn't he?
And he was just shamed, brother.
Mumtaz. All right, Amr, let's see what you got. Fadal.
From the beginning, brother.
Yeah, we want all 6, yeah.
Throw some bismillah in it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء والطارق
MashaAllah.
وما أدراك ما الطارق
MashaAllah.
النجم الثاقب إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ
Good job.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق خلق من ماء دافق.
Good job. Ahsanta.
I think we should give him 10 push-ups.
Yeah. Give him 10. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Mumtaz. طيب يا اخوان. All right, so we have 5 minutes left. Let's do one more verse, inshallah ta'ala. So, okay, Mumtaz. All right, now we have another rule that I didn't see that. I didn't notice that one. I didn't notice that one, but we'll add it to our list. All right, we'll add to our list. All right, and that's al-Iqlab. All right, so what I want you to notice, you have min, and again, the helpful Quran. Not only do they not put a vowel or a sukoon over that noon, but they put a meme over it. Okay, they put a meme over it with a tail. And then you notice that that noon is followed by, that noon sakin, or noon sakina, is followed by a ba. Okay? So that's a special rule, that when noon sakin is followed by a ba, you make something called iqlab. Iqlab means basically to turn something upside down, or to what? To transform it. Okay? So what they're telling you is transform that noon into another letter. What letter do you think you should transform it into? A meme. So they're saying transform this noon into a meme and pronounce it with what? With ghunna. Transform it into a meme and pronounce it with ghunna. So it should sound like this. Mim bain. Mim bain. Mim bain. Mim bain. Mim bain. So you should still hear the ghunna, but the letter you're pronouncing should sound more like a meme than a noon. Mim bain.
Mim bain.
And some of the scholars of tajweed, they say you shouldn't even what? You shouldn't even close your lips, but rather what? You should slightly open them, such that if you took a piece of paper, you could actually what? Put them between your lips, right? Mim bain, right?
Mim bain.
Mim bain.
Min bain.
Mim bain.
Min bain.
Okay? So it should sound, so if we put those 3 words together, yakhruju min bain.
يخرج من بين.
Yakhruju min bain.
يخرج من بين.
All right? So now we have that letter of ours, Sad, okay, which we learned how to pronounce that. Nothing significant in there, so we'll put those all together. يخرج من بين الصلب.
يخرج من بين الصلب.
Now you gotta double that Sad. بين الصلب. بين الصلب. بين الصلب.
بين الصلب.
Good job. يخرج من بين الصلب.
يخرج من بين الصلب.
يخرج من بين الصلب.
يخرج من بين الصلب.
Now notice we have two rules here in the next word. You have that med. You guys see that? You have that med, so we're going to hold that for 4 counts. And then because you're going to stop on a ba, you have to pronounce what? Qalqala. So it should sound like this. يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
All right, again. يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
وَالتَّ Double the ta and then pronounce it with what? With a flat and not a round. So don't say what ta. What ta. Should be flat. What ta. What ta. Takfif. Ahsant. And what happens, and Sammy's pointing out right now, what happens sometimes is when you have a thin letter followed by a thick letter, what you want to do is what? Make the preceding letter thick too. Tara. No. Tara. So let's practice that. What ta. What ta. What tara. What tara. What tara. What ترائب والترائب. Good job. Let's put them all together. يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
Okay, so be careful of 2 things. Don't say wa, it's what? Wa. Don't say ta, it's ta, and then it's what? Ra. So wet tera, wet tera, wet tera, wet tera. Wet, flat, round. Flat, round. Wet tera, wet tera, wet tera. Put it all together. يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
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 Good. Yalla. Yalla. You've waited long enough.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
Good job. See, you waited and you knew what you were doing. All right, Dhul Qarnayn. Waited long enough. Yalla. Let's go.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
We want it from
Okay.
the beginning, brother.
Okay, flatten. Everything was perfect, Abdul Qarnayn. Just flatten the ta a little bit more. Okay?
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
Wetta. Good job. Good job. Ahsan. Barakallahu feekum. طيب, any questions, ya ikhwan? Any questions that will be covered? Any questions? Any questions, any comments, any complaints, any critiques?
Who's a good reciter to listen to for tajweed?
The best reciter to listen to for tajweed is al-Husari. And hands down, anybody will tell you that. No one's clearer than him, no one's pronunciation is better than his. He's old school. Most people don't like old school people, but he's the best, man. He's the best just for pronunciation is concerned. He's just pure, yeah, he's pure.
First name?
He's pure. He's Mahmoud Khalil al-Husari. Yeah. Another good one is Ibrahim al-Akhdar. Very good. Ibrahim al-Akhdar is very good, very pure. Very pure. It's not fancy, but everything pronunciation is perfect. Al-Akhdar.
Akhdar.
Akhdar, green, right? Al-Akhdar. Ibrahim al-Akhdar. Another very, very good one is al-Basfar. Al-Basfar. Pure. So I mean, to be honest with you, Ikhwan, there's lots of guys who sound nice. Hudayf is good too. Hudayf is really good too. There's lots of guys who sound nice. I mean, we can go on and on about the guys who sound nice, but a lot of times they violate the rules of tajweed to sound nice. And if you follow them, then you'll be, they sound nice, put them in the car, play them, listen to them. But when you're going to have a tape that you're going to use to what? To learn the surah and to learn how to pronounce it, to do the different elongations, etc. You want a qari who they don't violate those rules, they really stick to them. And those are some of the ones that I would recommend. The other guys, there's some guys that really sound really nice. They can move you. So if you want to be moved, you can listen to those guys. But if you're trying to like learn and study, I'd recommend those guys.
So is it sinful if you don't follow the rules of tajweed?
Yeah, of course, can, you know. That's what they call rules. You have to follow them, yeah.
So why do they not follow so you said like they don't follow the rules?
Well, I think, let me take a step back. Maybe sinful is a little bit strong. That's a little bit strong. I think that they know where and when to violate without changing the meaning. And I think sometimes they may also, a lot of these tapes are done off of live recordings. So they're just into it. So they don't do it intentionally. I think too, they're just into it. They're feeling it. They're feeling the verse they're reciting, and they may kind of, they kind of like stretch it a little bit, I guess. They do some things that they probably shouldn't do, yeah.
I found a good app for those who are into the apps. There's one called, and it's a website as well called Quran MP3, or MP3 Quran. And there's several different MP3 Qur'an, so if you want to know which one, I'll show you. But I just found the Qari he was talking about.
Which one, Basfar or
Ibrahim
Akhtar? Akhtar's very good.
Yeah, he's very good.
Akhtar's very good.
Right now.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Basfar is very good. But Husri is the best, man. If you ask my humble opinion. Al-Husri is the best, man.
What does mujawwad mean, sir?
Mujawwad? Mujawwad is that, and you don't want that one. You don't want the mujawwad. You want his, what's the, not header. You want the one which is, it's in between mujawwad. It might be murattal. What options to give you? Mujawwad is the one where they make it really slow. You don't want that one because you can't really study from that one. You want the one that's like normal speed.
It says Mahmoud al-Husari, one without anything, and then the other one it says Mahmoud al-Husari Mujawwad.
Okay, so maybe the one without anything is going to be the one with regular speed. Mujawwad is the one with the really slower speed. All right, you don't want that one. You guys ever heard of Abdul Basit?
Yeah.
So you know Abdul Basit has a tendency to do that mujawwad, you know. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. You can't really, you can't, you need more like Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. That's how you're reciting prayer, right? That's what you really need. So that's the one you want. That one, yeah.
I have another question. You're reciting the Quran, and like in between the ayah, you get a yawn. So do you have to say A'udhu Billahi again and then start reciting again, or?
MashaAllah, that's a good question. What do you guys think? If you yawn, whether you're in prayer or outside of prayer, should you say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem or not?
Where's the deletion?
So what do you guys think?
I think you should, because the hadith for the yawning from Satan, so you gotta suppress the yawn.
Mumtaz. Okay, so we have a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that yawning is from a shaitan. Okay? So if you can, try to what? Suppress it. Okay? Because yawning is from a shaitan. But nowhere in that hadith did he say that you should say A'udhu Billah. So now the question is, do we say it or not? What do you guys think?
No.
Who says yes? Who says no? Show of hands. It's okay.
Say yes.
You say yes. Okay. Say yes. Okay. Anybody else say yes? All right. So why do you say yes? Because now you have to think about that. What you think before you answer. I want you to think about this. Is that anytime we do anything that has to do with the deen, And we give that thing that we do that has to do with the deen, we give it a munasaba. We give it a event or a circumstance that is connected to it, that these two things go hand in hand. If I yawn, I say, A'udhu Billah. Anytime we do that, we have to have a specific evidence that these two things go hand in hand, because we're making now a sabab. And if we don't have a evidence for that, specific evidence, then we end up falling into innovation.
Right.
It's just like a person saying that if you walk out of your door and you see a black crow, then you should recite Ayatul Kursi. So now they're connecting the recitation of this act of worship with what? An event, a circumstance. And if we start doing that, we start doing lots of acts of worship, connecting them with events, and we don't have a basis for it. That's what we call, that's one of the ways that you do what? Bid'ah. Because bid'ah can be what they call idafiyya, which means that the act itself is legislated, but the cause of it is not legislated. So when you put cause and effect, you're doing what? What they call bid'ah idafiyya, right? So now, come back to the question, why do you think we should do it?
So here's my reasoning. So when you're reciting the Quran, this is a form of worship, right? So I remember I heard one hadith where it was a Sahaba, he would have trouble concentrating during his salah. So it was told to him to recite A'udhu Billah 3 times, spit over his left shoulder.
Mumtaz.
And then he said he never had the problem again. So if I'm reciting Quran, another act of worship, if I get yawns, and I know yawning is from, shaitan, I should recite A'udhu Billah. I mean, my mind, I mean...
Jameel, don't, brother, don't feel bad. This is a learning opportunity. It's learn up. Do not feel bad. Do not feel bad at all. Okay, so now, because all this is a learning opportunity. What you just did, what you shared with us is an opportunity for us all to learn. And we're not going to learn the same if I just answer you. We're going to learn by what? Talking about it, right? Reasoning it out. So don't feel bad at all. Tayyib, now, what I noticed from what you just said is that you said, well, there's this hadith where the Prophet was talking about a person in prayer who had his concentration affected by the whispering of the devil. So he was told to do this to get rid of what? The devil's whispers, so he concentrated his prayer. So, and then you said, and now we have this situation where a person's reading Quran and they yawn, and yawning is from the devil. And so now what am I actually doing in effect? I'm making qiyas. I'm making an analogy. I'm making an analogy between one thing and another thing, and what? And from that I'm creating what? An act of worship, or an event which should what? Which should authorize an act of worship, or be connected with an act of worship. One thing we have to realize, ya ikhwan, is that we can't make qiyas in two things which are different. That one of the conditions for qiyas is that the two things have to be one. They have to share the same illah, have to share the same reasoning. And also qiyas in ibadat is prohibited. Qiyas in ibadat is prohibited because it leads to what? Innovation. When we make qiyas, we make analogy, we say, well, we do this, so we should do this. That's how you get what? Innovation. And I want to think of a good example of this. Give you a perfect example. For every prayer that we make, a congregational prayer, what do? We make the adhan, we make the iqamah. You agree with me? And the wisdom behind that is that we want what? People to what? Come. We want to make the congregation larger, and the best way to do that is to announce to the people that, hey, we're going to offer the prayer, right? That's why, that's the wisdom behind it. Got it? To let people know the prayer is about to be offered. So now that wisdom is still in play, even more so in play in Salat al-Eid, the Eid prayer, because you want a large group of the Muslims, all of the Muslims to attend the Eid prayer, to the point that the Prophet was so keen for the Muslims to attend the Eid prayer that he would even tell women, come to the prayer. Women would say, well, we're in that time where we don't pray. He would say, still come. And witness what? Witness the khair, the khutbah, وَدُعَاء الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and the prayer of the Muslims, etc. Be in this environment, be in this khayr. So he would command the women to even come, even though they weren't praying. So it's an event where lots of Muslims are supposed to attend. But in spite of this fact, sharing what? The same wisdom or desire of the regular prayers, the Prophet never made the adhan or the iqamah for what? Salat al-Eid. Right? And when some people wanted to do that, the companions, they would complain and say, I prayed with the Prophet. Okay? غَيْرَ مَرَّةٍ وَلَا مَرَّتَيْنِ. I didn't pray with him once or twice. I prayed with him what? Many times. وَأَبُو بَكْرَ وَعُمَرَ. Okay? I prayed with Abu Bakr and I prayed with what? Umar, and they never what? They never made the adhan, the iqamah for Salat al-Eid. But if we make analogy, you should what? Make salat. So what are they teaching indirectly? We don't make what? We don't make analogies. We follow what? We follow the sunnah. Now what you think about this is that just like the Prophet ﷺ can tell a companion that, hey, if you get whispering and you're unable to concentrate in prayer, then you should say what? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, spit, on your left side, etc. So now, just like he can tell him that, he could tell what? He could tell him that what? If you're reading Quran and you yawn, do this. Just like he said, yawning is from what? A shaitan. So if this was something which was what? Legislated and prescribed and something good to do and something that Allah is pleased with, the Prophet wouldn't what? He wouldn't withhold that information, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا صَاحِبُكُمْ no, that's not the one I want. The ayah before that. وَلَقَدْ رَآهُ بِالْأُفُقِ الْمُبِينِ وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ نعم وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَنِينَ. Okay, and he, meaning the Prophet, is not concerning the ghaib, the unseen, a what? A bakhil, someone who what? Withholds. Allah gives him information, he says, okay, I'm going to give them some of it, but I'm going to withhold some of it for myself. No, whatever Allah has taught him, he what? He teaches you. So that being said, if there's something good for us to know, part of the deen, he's going to what? Tell us that. So, no analogy, okay? We also have to think about what the Prophet did and what he didn't do. And that whatever he did is sunnah, doing it is sunnah, whatever he abandoning it is sunnah. And also that he, if this is something good from the deen, he wouldn't what? He wouldn't refrain from telling us about it. So now with all that said, we say that when people are reciting Quran, when they're in prayer and they yawn, they shouldn't what? They shouldn't make al-isti'adah. Because if it was something good, the Prophet would have what? Told us.
Okay.
Yeah, make sense?
Okay, so the rule is before I start the recitation, I should say
definitely, yeah.
But if I'm reciting, I get a yawn, I just try to suppress it. If not, I
that's
take the
it.
yawn and then I just keep reciting from the beginning or just where I left off?
No, wherever you left off. So basically, let's say it's in the middle of the ayah, go back to the beginning of that ayah. So let's say you said, يَخْرُجُ مِنْ بَيْنِ السُّرْ, like that. Okay. Go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. To keep the meaning.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
Any other questions?
Just on the same lines, when you said that using the wisdom, you do not create another act of worship.
Qiyas, yeah.
Is it okay to guess the wisdom behind acts of worship when we don't know?
Now, you can't guess, but you can make an educated guess. You can research and try to find out, see what scholars said, basically. But you shouldn't guess and then create. What you shouldn't do is guess and then create. And that's where a lot of people go wrong in these ahkam. They guess the illah, they guess whatever the reasoning is, and then based on that reason they want to make qiyas, but they're wrong in the reasoning in the first place. So, for example, طيب.
I have one now. Not for qiyas, but just there was a question asked. When we say when we make taslim in the salah, are we saying salam to the angels?
I think you're saying salam to those believers who are on your right and left and to the angels. Which is why it makes sense that even when you pray alone, you still say what? As-salam. Yeah.
Is there any text for that?
I think that's what the scholars have just mentioned. Like in their shuruh, that's what they just mentioned. that basically they'll ask that question, okay, well, what's the hikmah, and to whom are we giving the salams? And they said, if you pray in congregation, the salams is for what? The believers to your right and left and to the angels. And if you pray individually, it's to what? To the angels. Yeah.
I have one more question.
تفضل.
Back to recitation. For the ones who do not know the meanings or where to stop, is it okay to stop anywhere and start, or you should always go back and start?
Well, if you don't know, it's probably better to go back and start from the beginning of the ayah, if you don't know. But there's some helpful hints, like in this, again, helpful Quran. They'll put a jeen, that means jaiz, it's okay to stop. They'll put sali, sad, lam, ya, and what they're telling you here is, it's better if you continue, but if you stop, it's okay. They'll put qala, which means it's better to stop, but if you continue, it's okay. You follow me? They'll put 3 dots, like the 3 dots of a tha, and they'll put a little few words down, they'll put 3 other dots, and they're telling you, hey, if you stop here, don't stop here, okay? If you stop here, then don't stop here, and you can do what? You can also read through. Yeah, you can read through. So stop at one, but don't stop at the other. That's what the 3 dots mean. So they give you these hints. So definitely use those. But if they're ayah with no hint and you can't really follow where the thought ends and a new thought begins, then it's best just to what? It's best to the best of your ability to try to read through. And if you can't do that and you break because of, I just have to take a breath, then there's no harm in that at the end of the day, because la yukallifu nafsan illa wus'aha. Yeah, Allah doesn't put a burden on this greater than can bear.
You shouldn't stop.
Allah means don't. Don't stop here, because I can change the meaning. It'll change the meaning. Yeah. Yeah, because if you stop there on the la, it'll change the meaning. And then sometimes there's a meme which tells you don't stop, because it'll change the meaning. You follow me? I'm sorry, so meme, Allah tashway, let me double check that. And I have the perfect ayah. Let me just find it. Tafadhal, you can, if you want to interject while I look for the ayah. You want to say something, Adi?
Yeah.
Go ahead, tafadhal.
12:10, inshallah.